Good afternoon. Welcome to today's Excel hints and tips. It's our surprise content. We do have one or two of these that we like to have out there so that we can give everyone an opportunity to put in what they would actually like to see. So hopefully you'll enjoy today's session. I'm Kirsty McGrath. I'm the Productivity Specialist at DDLS, and we'll have our 15-minute webinar starting now. If you have any questions, do please feel free to put them over into the chat on the right-hand side, and I can answer those questions towards the end, and we'll have some other avenues there as well if you wish to be able to communicate outside of the session. Okay, getting underway. Don't forget, if your screen does go black at any point, do feel free to please refresh your screen. Getting into what we're actually going to cover off. So I've got lots of hints and tips, and look, lots get thrown at me all the time. I learn new things all the time. Others learn new things or find things that they would like me to actually talk about, think that others might like to know. So I'm going to touch on a few different topics today. We're going to work our way through quickly, a few different bits and pieces. I've got sorting, how to duplicate some content in Excel really quickly. We're looking at the format painter, auto-filling, and how you can actually do that not just with a left click. Formatting cells, some of the paste special operator when you want to be able to add to, multiply, divide, etc. A few things around moving around Excel, selecting as well, inputting data from above, and some of the simple things and some extra keyboard shortcuts and around calculating time. So let's get ourselves underway. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to now share my screen with you, so we'll give it a chance for it to come up. Should be with you in a minute. One of the great things about Excel is the fact that we can do so many different features when it comes to Excel. It's a very rich application with lots that you can actually do with it. One of the main things that I often see as I'm walking around classrooms and doing training and helping others is when it comes to something simple like sort. We'll often do a grab the column. You might have a whole heap of data, so you'll go grab the column to start your sort. And when we actually do a sort, we can do it quickly with a right click if you wish, but it's going to make it that little bit harder when you've actually got blank cells. You'll see it's not coming up with a right click. So then they'll go up to the top and go, I want to do a sort and filter, and then it'll go, do you want to expand the selection? It gives you a couple of extra features. But the one thing you can do is, if you just click within the column, that's all you need to do is be in the cell, and do a right click, you're going to get your sort smallest to largest, or you can go up to the top to the editing group and then go sort filter, go smallest to largest, largest to smallest, and it will recognize the parameters of your table for you to be able to do a sort. Keep it really simple. You don't need to select a column unless you only want to sort by a column. Otherwise you're adding in an extra step that you just don't need to have there. What else can I actually do? So there's a few different things like duplicating a page or duplicating comment, duplicating information, so it depends on what it is that you actually want to do for your data. When we're looking at duplicating, one thing about duplicating, if you don't know, if you hold your control key down as you do a left click and drag, it'll duplicate just about anything. So whether it's a picture or whether you're in Excel or a sheet, for example. So if I want to duplicate, down the very bottom here, as I click on a tab, it gives me a little sheet icon. If I hold my control key down, it actually also does a plus sign to it as well. So if you're having a look down the bottom, so if I do a drag and drop now, it's duplicating my content. The same thing can actually happen when I've got things like a bunch of raw data that I want to work with. So just say I'm going to get rid of this content. I'm just going Control minus, and it's actually deleting content out with a Control minus sign. That's how you can delete some columns. If I wanted to select, okay, I'm going to do a Shift space bar. And then I'm just going to hold my Shift key down and arrow down, and I can delete some more content, Control minus. Quick and easy ways to be able to do it without taking your hand off the keyboard. What if I want to move or duplicate this content? As I'm doing a left click, if I hold my control key down, see it's giving me a little plus, and I can move it and duplicate it. Okay, I'm going over the top on this particular instance. I can go left click, drag to the right, duplicate. I can do a left click and drop over the top, and I can just keep duplicating. Okay, so it's just one way to be able to duplicate content as you're doing a left click and a drag around. So these are some of the different ways that you can select, move, get up and down around your content. Now your format painter, if you have a particular look and feel that you want to have for your cells, we've got a lot of cell styles, so if you're wanting to highlight, you can just choose a cell style. It's just a look and feel. So don't worry about the fact that it says good, bad, or neutral. It's really just colour, okay? So if I go, I want to colour that in red, and I now want to duplicate that, I've got my little format painter up the top. One click allows me to use it once. A double click allows me to use it more than once. My mouse is a little tricky. So I can now just keep using it again and again to choose what I wish to. Now the other thing I could have done was I could go, I want to take that particular look and feel, and I'm going to do a Control-C to copy. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to do a Control-V to paste, but you see it's going over the top. All I want is the formatting. One of the great things about your Paste Special is you can just say, I just want to copy the formatting only. Okay, and there's that cannot source. Let's just go copy the formatting only. Down formatting. Okay, so now it's just copying the formatting rather than the information that comes with it. Okay, so these are some really quick and easy ways for you to be able to copy your formatting and working with the Format Painter. Okay. Now, when I'm wanting to do, say, an autofill, it could be a date. For example, if I put in today's date, maybe that's what I want to do, or today's time. And I've got time. Okay, the way I'm doing this really quickly and easily is if I go Shift and I'm doing my Control Shift semicolon and then or just Control semicolon, there's my time and my date, and it's dropping in current time as it is, as it stands. It's not a rolling. It's not doing an actual format to go with it, like it's not a formula. Okay, so there is no function there. It's just dropping it in. So if I want to fill that, if I do a left click and drag down, I could then go, I want to choose whether I want to do my weekdays, months, or years, for example. But another way to be able to do it, another way is instead of doing a left click, I just do my right click, and as I drag down, it automatically comes up. Okay, let's try that again. I've got a bit of a tricky mouse here. As I do my right click, it goes, what do you want to do? So it automatically jumps up rather than me having that second step of then choosing my fill options. And I can go, I want to go weekdays. So it's just one little step if you're not familiar with how to be able to work with that. What if I've got my sales here and my sales data, I want to change all of this so that it's less, say 10%, or maybe it's 10% more, or I want to add $500 on because every time we do a sale, it's whatever amount, okay? So if I want to add, say 500 to this, I'm just going to put 500 over on the right. I'm going to copy it. So rather than me actually doing a formula that's going to go plus, I can go, I just want to adjust all this content here. I'm going to add 500, quick and easy way. In terms of selecting, I can drag my mouse down, or I can be in the first cell and just go Control Shift and arrow down, selecting everything for me. Now what I want to do is my Paste Special. So we've got then our Paste Special options, and when I'm going to work with my Paste Special, and there's keyboard shortcuts to bring up your Paste Special as well, I'm going to add it. So I've got an operator here. Now for all that data, I want to paste in that $500. I'm just going to go add. So now there's my $500, add it in. Okay. So if I go undo, you'll see it's 12.6, redo, so undo, Control Z, redo, Control Y, and there's it, plus $500. And there's lots of different operators in there. You've got multiplication, you've got addition, subtraction. So there's a few different things, but first, to get your Paste Special up, you will need to copy something to start with. Okay? Then you'll be able to use those operators. So some of the other ways, moving around in Excel. So what have we got? If we want to switch between open windows, so I've got 2 open windows at the moment in Excel, and I want to swap between them, I can actually just go Control Tab, and it will swap me between my 2 Excel windows. What if I'm in a sheet and I want to move up and down my pages? Okay, I can go Control Page Down or Control Page Up, and it will actually move me from sheet to sheet. Okay? So that's just some ways to get around from your actual sheets and worksheets. What about within a cell? So we've got our arrow left, arrow right. If I want to get to the end of my data, I can hold down my Control key and go arrow right, arrow left, arrow up, arrow down, and it'll go to the nearest blank space. So now, moving up and moving down, add combinations. Hold your Shift key down if we arrow up or down, it's selecting. What if I go Control Shift, arrow up, it selects. Control Shift, arrow across. What about Control A to select all? Control A will select everything around your current cell where it can see that you've last entered data. You can also go Control Shift, star, okay? And it will do a very similar piece. That's your 8. So Control Shift and then the figure 8 where you got your star then sits above. Okay, I call it star, keep it simple. Okay. So these are some of the easy ways to be able to select information. What if I want to say sum? If I want to sum something up quickly and easily, we've got our auto sum. It's up the top right hand corner. I don't know if you've ever noticed though, if you hover over your auto sum, it comes up with Alt equals is the keyboard shortcut for summing. Where I see Alt equals is really valuable. I could choose a whole column, for example, and go Alt equals. Where I often do work with it is I choose a whole range of data because I want to do my summing to the right and below, and then go Alt equals. Now I could have moved out an extra column or row example as well. Okay? So you could go a little bit further out if you wanted to. Example, and it will do it wherever it is that you are last sitting. Okay? So just some quick and easy ways to be able to sum and get around. What if I'm using my mouse and I want to get to the end of the row? Okay, as I go to the end of the cell, what I get is my 4-headed arrow. If I double click, it will jump to the very last cell in your row. So sometimes when you've got really large spreadsheets and you want to get to the end of that particular row, rather than slowly moving your way across or coming down to the bottom and zooming or sliding across, just get to the end of the cell, do a double click with the 4-headed arrow, and it will jump you there. Some quick, simple ways. What about I want to input some data from above? So I'm just going to go to the cell below. When I want to input data from above, I can go just my Alt down arrow, and what it does is it actually gives me this little drop-down list for me to be able to choose from. So I can go, what do I actually want? I'm just going to drop in Kendra James' name from above. So simple, an easy way to be able to duplicate information from somewhere above with your Alt arrow and a drop-down list for you. That's just an Alt down arrow. Very quick and easy. One simple thing that I often will do is I want to work with different formats. So I just go and I want to do things like my general, my number, my percent, and I want to have the icons and information that often comes from our number formats. Quick and easy way, go Control Shift, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll go Control Shift 2, and there's it in time. Control Shift 3 gives me it in a date, because all dates have a number sitting behind them. 4 will turn it into your currency. 5 will turn it to a percentage. 6 will then bring it into scientific, and Control Shift 1, so this is all Control Shift, will bring it back to a number. Okay, so this is a quick and easy way for you to be able to take your information and start to actually work with it. Very simple formatting. So if you want a $sign against your numbers, just go Control Shift $sign. Pretty simple. So having those formats can really actually help you. Another thing that I'll often get asked is, I've just got some time and I want to work out the difference between now and then, okay? So it was 9:30 in the morning and it's then 12:30 and I want to divide. And with it being 24-hour time, it's keeping it in its simplest, rawest form. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take my two cells, because when we minus it, that's not going to give me what I need. And then I'm just going to times it by 24, sorry, I should say. So that gives me my time. Okay. So now, depending on which way you go, it could be minus 3 hours, or you do it in the alternative. So it'll be equals 12:30 minus your 9:30. So depending on which way you want to go, make sure that we've actually got. Let's just fix the, yes, I moved before I put in, and then times it by 24, and that'll give you your 3 hours. Keep it really simple. There are a lot of functions to be able to support you along this, but this is in its rawest form. If I've got two separate dates, for example, don't forget it is a number that's actually sitting behind it. So if I do today's date, and I want to minus, it's literally just take one date from the other. So it's just go take one day from another, like this. And it actually recognizes a number. You do it in the alternative. You go E23 minus D. Okay, so you get your 110 days. Because really, that there is just sitting as a number. So if I go Control-Shift-1, you'll see it's just classing it as a number. All dates are numbers, and it will actually work it out for you, keeping it really simple. So there's lots of keyboard shortcuts to be able to support you around Excel. I know we're going a little over. There's plenty there to be able to work with. If you go Control-Shift and you do things like your ampersand, it will actually come up with any formulas or functions that you actually need. You've got Control-Shift, quote, okay, quotations. It'll tell you what it is above to be able to repeat. You've got F4 if you're trying to lock down cells. It gives you, if you've ever used, say, your dollar signs, which is your absolute reference, to be able to do that quickly and easily, you just F4 and it'll bring it in. So it's locking down cells and columns, it's locking down cells, it's locking down rows, or it's turning it off with an M4, with an F4. So these are all really simple ways to be able to work with your information. Control-Tilde will reveal all your formulas on the page. Okay. Fairly simple, quick ways to go. Okay, gone a little over because I got given quite a few different things that people wanted to cover today. But I'm going to leave that for now, and hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of some really great, quick ways for you to be able to work in Excel. Some great hints and tips there, and thank you to everyone who's supplied those over time. There. So next week we are going to be looking at OneDrive and how make finding files easier in OneDrive for business. We're going to help you to find a better way to be able to store and find your files in your OneDrive. Things like your naming conventions, navigating around in your ribbons, some of the searching and creating that customized view of your files. Okay, so there's creating columns, there's multiple ways to be able to make it really quickly and easily be able to find your files. If you have any questions, do please put them into the chat. If you've got any questions, thoughts or comments, then do feel free to post them in the Users Work Wonders with Office 365 group on the Yammer network, which is the aka.ms/Office users on Yammer, or email us at 0365au2@microsoft.com. Don't forget, there's a toolkit that you can download to help others if you want to invite them in. Don't forget to tell your colleagues. There's plenty of assets there to be able to support you on our website. And I've been asked to just show the last tip. In terms of the formulas, I can do that. That is fine. Let me just come back. And what you can do is you just go Control tilde. Your tilde button, I don't know, if you can see on your keyboard, you've got a little squiggle. Often that people call it the little squiggle. So below the little squiggle is your little sort of dash. It's called a tilde, and it's Control tilde. It reveals your formulas. The other thing that you can do is, I'll show you where to find it just in case you need to come back to it. If you ever need to find it, on your Formulas tab, so hopefully you should be able to see the screen, you've got a command button on your Formulas tab in the Formula Auditing group called Show Formulas. And it will actually reveal your formulas for you, and it will also show you the keyboard shortcut. It's always a good idea to just stop for a moment as you hover over a command, go and see if there's a keyboard shortcut to be able to support you in understanding some of the keyboard shortcuts. Go into your help. So go in and press F1. Bring up the keyboard shortcuts. Get to know them. Not only is it ergonomically better for you to be able to work, okay, then it's also much quicker and easier to be able to work with because you're not taking your hands off the keyboard. So go and have a look. There are so many keyboard shortcuts that you're going to find in Excel. Let's bring them up on the screen for you. And happy to post some of these. Okay, so you've got all the keyboard shortcuts. There are so many. Okay, your formats, the ways to be able to navigate around your cells. There are pages and pages. Choose one or two. Get to know them. It's going to take you a little while, but once you know them, you'll become so much quicker in Excel to be able to get around. Another really brilliant one I use all the time, just press F2. Gets you into your cell. Something so simple. Any other questions? I'm just giving you a chance to ask any questions. I think we've covered everything off for today. I appreciate everyone coming in. Don't forget, you can actually come back and join us next week in our OneDrive for Business session. If there's any other questions, do feel free to chat with me at any point on the Users Work Wonders group on Yammer or email us. Until next week, thank you very much, everyone, and hope you've had a good session.